Hieronymus Bosch, A Visual Timeline by Lila Rowe. Bosch is famously known for his intensely imaginative and religious paintings. Several of his paintings feature hell and the result of sin, so let's continue to analyze his paintings throughout the years. First up is Cutting the Stone. Cutting the Stone is also known as the extraction of the stone of madness. In this painting, we see a surgeon removing the stone of madness from the patient's head. Standing by is a monk and a woman with a book balanced on her head. It is noticed that the flower bulb coming out of the patient's head represents the stone, conveying that the doctor is a charlatan. The woman with books balanced on her head is believed to be a satire of the Flemish costume, as she also depicts folly. Michael Foucault believes Bosch's famous doctor is far more insane than the patient he is attempting to cure, and his false knowledge does nothing more than reveal the worst excesses of a madness immediately apparent to all but himself. Next up is the Adoration of the Magi. This work is known to be a representation of the advent of salvation shown through a set of shutters, each of the panels depicting something different. The Adoration of the Magi is a common theme amongst early European art, representing the birth of Jesus Christ and often signifying the Incarnation. The left panel of the shutters shows St. Peter and a donor, and in the background is a man who is likely to be St. Joseph warming Jesus' diapers. In the right panel is St. Agnes and the eponymous donor. The central panel shows the Adoration of the Magi, with Mary sitting outside a hut holding a child in her womb. Melchior kneels at Maggie's feet with the gift for her, and his crown lies on the ground. Caspar stands representing the visit of the Queen Sheba, and finally is Balthazar, offering water to King David and is accompanied by a servant. Next is the Last Judgment. This work includes 3 different panels and represents 3 biblical events that all predict the horrible end of mankind, being the fall, the judgment day, and the eternal death in hell. In the left panel, we see the creation of Adam and Eve, which is the fall. The central panel is the judgment day, where God and the apostles are near the top of the panel, with angels trumpeting near God. The top of the panel includes lighter colors like light blue, whereas the lower part of the panel includes dark colors like deep red and black. In this panel, Bosch hoped to represent the entrance of sin into the world. In the right panel, hell and eternal death is displayed, featuring Satan. The contrast and color schemes throughout this work makes it very interesting and plays a large role within the message behind it. Next is the Garden of Earthly Delights. Similar to a lot of Bosch's work, this painting also consists of 3 panels. This work expresses the fears that influenced life throughout the Middle Ages. These fears included the weakness of man and the eternal damnation in hell. The left panel is named Paradise and represents the introduction between Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The central panel, named the Garden of Earthly Delights, represents a sinful humanity free of morals, including naked men and women, fruits, and animals. The right panel, named Hell, represents an insane perspective on the result of a sinful humanity full of punishment and emotional torture. Next up is the 7 deadly sins and the last 4 things. As a whole, this work represents the different levels of sin, the punishments, and the eyes of God watching over. Compared to Bosch's other works, this piece is more symbolic and less literal. The circle in the center of the piece includes the 7 deadly sins, and the 4 circles in the corners of the artwork include the punishments for these sins. The sins depicted in this artwork include lust, gluttony, pride, sloth, wrath, greed, and envy. In the center of the circle is Christ watching over as these sins are committed in day-to-day life. Next is the Hay Wain Triptych. This artwork is yet another piece by Bosch that includes 3 different panels. The left panel shows God as he gives form to Eve. There's quite a narrative going on within this panel, where God creates Eve from the rib of Adam, and then Adam and Eve go to the serpent, where the serpent offers them an apple. In the lower part of this panel, the angels force Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. The central panel includes a wagon surrounded by fools who have previously committed several sins as God looks down on them. The final panel represents the result of such greed and lust through a depiction of hell. Lastly is the Temptation of St. Anthony. This 3-panel artwork by Bosch shows all the mental and spiritual torture that St. Anthony endured due to his sins. The left panel shows a fight as well as the fall of St. Anthony. The central panel shows the temptation of St. Anthony as he is tempted by several things. The right panel shows the contemplation of St. Anthony, and in this, a naked woman is featured in the foreground, symbolizing luxury as a temptation for St. Anthony. Different from Bosch's other three-panel works, all three panels in this artwork are hellish, including little contrast. These are my works cited. Thank you.